Continuing Avery pretrial, December 2005. Agent Tom Fassbender under cross-examination by Attorney Lloyd. Officer Fassbender, were you the officer in charge of this investigation? No. Not in its entirety, no. Were you one of the two officers leading the investigation? Yes. And you were present when search warrants were executed to the Avery property? Yes. Okay. Including the warrant that led to the search of Avery's trailer? Yes. Okay. That trailer was searched 3 times, is that correct, pursuant to the warrants? 2 or 3, one of the actual searches, may have been more gathering of evidence that was identified on one of the searches. Depends if you want to call it a search or. And you and other investigators first started searching the Avery property on November 5th, is that right? Yes. You've mentioned that some bones and some tissue, is that correct? Yes. And were you the one that found those? No. Okay, do you recall the date those were found? I'm going to say I'm not sure. 8th or 9th, November 8th or 9th. You indicated that there were a number of people who assisted in searching the Avery property. Is that correct? That's correct. And there were hundreds of these people over the course of that week? Certainly. At any one time, how many of those people would usually be there searching through things? I don't know if I can answer that one right now. I mean, could it be that there were at least 50 people on the grounds of Avery Salvage searching? Yes. Okay. And what were these people doing? Where were they searching? It depends on what day you're talking about and what time. Sometimes we had people searching the vehicles in the pit area. We had people searching in the office area. We had teams searching in the residences. Was pretty much every square inch of the property searched? I can't say every square inch of the property was searched, but the property was searched, and the entirety of the property was searched. Searched pretty thoroughly? I believe so. Who were these people that were doing the searching? Primarily law enforcement personnel, to include State Patrol, upwards of 50 to 60 members of the State Patrol on at least 2 days. And then I believe members of the fire department, professional fire department, came out and assisted also. Fire departments from where? Most of them, I'm not going to say. I don't know for sure. You don't know for sure? Okay. Were there officers in charge monitoring what these searchers were doing? Yes. Was somebody from the Calumet Sheriff's Department or from the DCI watching every searcher? Watching every searcher? Yes. I would have to say no to that. When you have got 60 troopers in back searching cars, there wasn't someone from Calumet or DCI with each of those troopers. No. What about searchers who were looking in areas other than cars, the residences, the business areas? Basically, where we have the scaled diagram, how many people were searching in that area and how were they monitored? I can't say for sure how many people were searching in that area, but when it came to searching the residences and the buildings, there was a DCI agent or a Calumet County personnel with them. You testified that her license plate was found in a vehicle, and I think there is an arrow pointing to it on a diagram. Is that correct? Yes. Did you find those or did someone else? Someone else. Okay, do you know who found those plates? By name? No, but I believe it was a trooper. It looks like you gave Mr. Avery his Miranda warning. Is that correct? No, Investigator Wiegert read his Miranda warnings to him. And you signed as a witness? Yes. Where was Mr. Avery when this Miranda warning was given? He was in the back seat of my car, as was Investigator Wiegert. I was in the front seat behind the wheel, and it was his in the driveway of his brother's residence, Earl Avery. Were the other officers in the car with the 3 of you? No. Was Mr. Avery under arrest at the time? Yes. He had just been arrested on the gun charge? Yes. And was he in handcuffs? No. Did he at any time indicate that he wanted to see an attorney? No. Did he indicate that he didn't wish to speak with you? No, not at that time. Were you aware that Mr. Avery was represented by attorneys? I believe I was aware that he had a civil suit going and he probably had attorneys on that civil suit. Were you aware of any efforts made by those attorneys to contact Mr. Avery or to contact you? No. Why wasn't Mr. Avery cuffed after his arrest? We spoke with him, and Investigator Wiggert asked him if he would continue to cooperate in the sense that he wouldn't get physical or anything, and if so, he would not be handcuffed, and he agreed to do that. Now, at the time of his arrest, was he only arrested on the gun charge? Yes. He wasn't arrested at that time for anything related to the homicide or anything related to Teresa Halbach. Is that correct? Correct. And he was in the back seat of the squad. My vehicle, it was a state-owned vehicle, but it's not a marked squad or anything. There's no barriers or anything between the front and back seats. Any officer and Officer Wiegert was in the back seat with Mr. Avery? Yes. And you were driving? Yes. You observed a scabbed overcut on the middle finger of Mr. Avery's right hand. Is that right? Yes. And Mr. Avery told you how he got that cut, didn't he? If he said it, when he said it, I wasn't present. No, he didn't tell me. Nothing that you heard? No. Was Mr. Avery cooperative with you and Officer Wiegert? Yes. He answered your questions? Yes. And he told you that Miss Halbach had been there and had taken a picture? Yes. And that she had driven away? Yes. He said about less than 5 minutes she was there. When did you first arrive on the Avery property? Saturday, November 5th, mid-afternoon. I'm thinking it was around 2:30, 3 p.m. And what did you do when you first arrived? Met with investigators, the sheriff of the county of Calumet County, in a command post at the Avery property, and got briefed on what was happening to that point. And you were told that the RAV4 had been found? Yes. Okay, at that point, there hadn't been any other evidence found other than the RAV4. I believe that's correct. Okay, and this command post, was it inside one of the Avery buildings? No. Where was it? They had a trailer out there, command post trailer from the sheriff's department. From Calumet Sheriff's Department? They had one from each. I don't know if the Calumet's was there yet, but they had one from Manitowoc, and Calumet County brought one also. After you got briefed, what did you do next? I'm not sure, but I believe the search warrant was being obtained for the property around that time. That the search warrant was obtained and executed. I went down by where the RAV was located, along with an investigator from Calumet County, and observed its location and the state it was in. After making those observations, I believe that we walked some after that. I don't know exactly how long after that. We walked that berm. On the other side of that berm with one of the cadaver dogs that had arrived on the scene. When you went down by the RAV4, was there anyone else there? Yes, it was there. There were deputies from Calumet County that were standing in the vicinity, securing that location, securing the vehicle. About how many? I know one for sure was near that vehicle. Anybody else other than Calumet County deputies around that vehicle? Not that I know of. Were there other people down in that pit area besides the deputies who were securing the vehicle? When I went down there? Yes. There was another vehicle near the crusher, one or two vehicles, and there were deputies there, staged there as well. Also, I just can't remember who else went down there with me, if they did. The sheriff may have come down there with me also. Now, you have testified that you were involved in processing the RAV4. Is that correct? Making the decisions on the processing of the RAV4. You didn't actually do any of the actual processing yourself. That's correct. Okay, and you were part of the decision was made to take the entire vehicle to the crime lab. Is that correct? Is that right? Correct. Did you supervise the processing? I took the tow truck that went down there. I escorted them down there along with the vehicle and the trailer that the RAV4 was transported in. I then maintained a position near the crusher in the pit area. The crime lab personnel then accompanied the tow truck to the RAV4 and oversaw as they removed it from its location back to my location where it was backed into the trailer. Where was the tow truck from? I do not know. So the RAV4 was towed from the location it was found to the location where the trailer was. Maybe you could show us on the map. Okay, the RAV4 is down here, the southeast area. The tow truck, along with the truck pulling the trailer and myself, came down here into the pit area. And then the crusher is somewhere in this location here. And we were staged right in this area right here. The tow truck had to go back in there with crime lab personnel picked up the vehicle, brought it back out to this area where I was again. They backed that RAV into that enclosed trailer. Now, the trailer and the truck pulling the trailer and the driver were from Calumet County. I'm not sure about the tow truck operator. I had the name of the tow truck, and I just can't remember it right now. Were you present when the RAV4 was hooked up to the tow truck? No, I was staged here. Crime lab personnel were with the vehicle. When you first saw the RAV4, did it still have branches and other things covering it? When I first saw it? Yes. Yes. Okay. So I take it that once the vehicle was towed to your location, although it was no longer covered with any branches or anything, right? Yes, that's correct. The crime lab personnel had told me that they had inspected and processed those items. Some of those items were transported with the vehicle. The others were left at the scene after being inspected. And you supervised loading the RAV into their trailer. Crime lab personnel and myself, I was present. And how was that done? They had backed into the trailer by the tow truck operator. Okay, so just pushed it into the trailer? Yes, with a rather large enclosed trailer with a ramp. And the tow truck operator backed it right up the ramp into the enclosed trailer. Attorney Loy, no further questions, Your Honor. The court, any redirect? Attorney Kratz, no, Judge. I am, however, with his testimony of the exhibits 2 and 3 being accurate depictions of, one, a photograph, and one, a diagram of the Avery property, I will move their admission to evidence. I believe I have already with exhibit 4. Is that correct? The clerk, yes. Attorney Kratz, or 6, I'm sorry. The clerk, 4 you did, and 6. Attorney Kratz, I have with 6 as well? Yes. Attorney Kratz, all right, 2 and 3. I'm moving their admission, Judge. The court, any objection to exhibits 2 and 3? Attorney Loy, no objection for purposes of this hearing, Your Honor. The court, exhibits 2 and 3 are admitted. The witness is excused. The state may call its next witness.